how important really is this launch for Apple compared to some of the previous events that we've seen? Is this in many ways a litmus test of sorts for Tim Cook?
I think definitely this is going to be the biggest product launch since the iPad, really. We're going to see not only, like you said, a new set of iPhones that are going to be likely significantly different from the past few iterations, but also a slew of new products that are really there to replace sort of the iPad as the growth driver, as demand there has really started to slow.
There's been plenty of speculation about the new device, but let's just begin with the display. 4.7 and 5.5 inches seems to be the most popular of the lot. What's your own take on this?
I think there is going to be two different iterations, and this is really to address a sort of a diversifying and growing market. So we're going to see the smaller version likely aimed at loyalists who want to keep a smaller phone, but then also address the big growth area, which is the phablets. That's going to be really the new phone. Obviously, with that, profitability will likely take a bit of a hit.
All right, let's really move on to the newest device from the Apple pack, and that's the iWatch. Do you see the levels of traction that Apple products have traditionally seen in the past? And what can really Apple do to differentiate itself from arch rival Samsung that already has introduced a wearable device in that category?
I think Apple is going to introduce something that's going to be very competitive. It's going to be to have a bit more appeal than what we've seen with some of the Samsung devices that you mentioned. But is it going to make wearable electronics a mainstream product in the very near future? I don't think that's really the case yet. We're not going to see those levels of demand because wearable electronics in general are a very personal item. So they're not going to be as widely applicable as a phone or a tablet might be. Additionally, the functionality is still not very well developed for these products to take off in such an immediate term.
What's at stake for competitors, especially Samsung and Nokia? Can Apple deliver that knockout punch here?
Well, growth in smartphones has really started to slow. So if we look at the competitive environment and what the slowdown is driving, it's really becoming far more intense in terms of the products that are being released and the functionality and even the price points. And the release of a vastly revamped and wider sort of portfolio from Apple is definitely going to intensify this quite a bit more significantly.
Let's talk about the Indian market, which is also incredibly competitive because there's a whole host of low-cost smartphones as well from local companies like Micromax and even quite a few Chinese brands here which have seen huge success. Can Apple target a wider segment going forward since India is a fast-growing market, and how can it do so without cutting prices?
Well, brands like Xiaomi and Micromax, Carbon, they're really more popular with first-time buyers, first-time smartphone buyers that are switching from feature phones. That's not really a market Apple will be addressing anytime soon. So that's why it's likely to remain an aspirational brand. So as those people who have purchased smartphones before, they have become a significant part of their lives. And with Apple remaining a sort of an aspirational product, more and more people will be willing to spend on these devices. So even if Apple has a small share of this vast and fast-growing market, it will still translate into very significant volume sales for them. And I think they'll be content with that situation.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.